Good morning students. Welcome back to today's biology class. In the previous class we have started the chapter called the excretory products and elimination. In that chapter we have studied about excretion. We have studied about the different excretory organs as well as about the human excretory system. So we will study here the basic unit of the excretory system. That is about the nephron. We are going to discuss about the structure of the nephron. Okay, this is the structure of the nephron, and the nephron is having two important parts, that is called as the glomerulus part that you are able to see here, and it has other tubule part. So the nephron consists of two important glomerulus part as well as the second part is the renal tubule part. So these are the parts of the nephron. So we'll study in detail about what are the parts of the nephron. Okay, so as I told you, this is the glomerulus part of the nephron and this is the tubular part. We call it as renal tubule. So this is glomerulus part of the nephron, and this glomerulus, okay, is made up of tuft of afferent arteriole. It's made up of a tuft of afferent arteriole, and blood from the glomerulus is carried away by the efferent arteriole. This is the efferent arteriole. It's carried away by the efferent arteriole. And you can see here is the cup-shaped structure of the nephron. We call this cup-shaped structure as the Bowman's capsule. The cup-shaped structure is called the Bowman's capsule. Okay, and this Bowman's capsule leads into an elongated tube-like structure. This is called as the renal tubule. And this renal tubule is having the different parts. This is called as a DCT. Okay, so this is called as a PCT, that is proximal convoluted tubule. Convoluted means it is coiled. Okay, so this part we call it as proximal convoluted tubule. And this part is called as a DCT, that is the distal convoluted tubule. Distal convoluted tubule. And you can see here it's a U-shaped or hairpin-like structure. It is called as the Henle's loop. Henle's loop, or it's also known as loop of Henle. Both are same. So the U-shaped structure is known as the Henle's loop or loop of Henle. And this Henle's loop is having two parts. This Henle's loop is having two parts. One is called as the descending limb. This is called as the descending limb of Henle's loop. This is the descending limb of Henle's loop, and this is the ascending limb of the Henle's loop. This is the ascending limb. Okay, and you can see the DCT leads into the next part, that is known as the collecting duct. The part is known as the collecting duct. And you can see the blood vessels which run parallel to the limbs, descending limb as well as the ascending limb. The blood vessels which is running parallel, we call it as vasa recta. This is known as vasa recta. This is known as the vasa recta. So these are the parts of the nephron, as I told you, glomerulus and Bowman's capsule. These together, the glomerulus and the Bowman's capsule, together we call it as Malpighian body. We call it as Malpighian body, or it's also known as renal corpuscles. Both are same. Malpighian body or renal corpuscle, both are the same. And this is the proximal convoluted tubule, distal convoluted tubule, loop of Henle, and both the loop of Henle is having two parts, that is descending limb and ascending limb, and ultimately they leads into the collecting duct. Okay, and we can see here the Malpighian body, that is the Bowman's capsule, PCT, DCT, all together, that is Malpighian tubule, PCT, DCT, all together we can see them in the cortex of the kidney. Previous class itself we have studied about the regions or the layers of the kidney, that is the outer layer is called as a cortex and the inner layer or the inside part we call it as medulla. So we can see the Malpighian tubule, the PCT, DCT, etc. in the cortex of the kidney. Whereas we can see the loop of Henle. It is present in the medulla region of the kidney. So these are about the parts of the nephron. As you know, the basic unit of the kidney is the nephron, and within each kidney you can see millions and millions of nephron are present. Study about the urine formation or the physiology of the kidney, how our kidney is functioning. Urine formation or the physiology of the kidney includes three basic steps. The one is called as the ultrafiltration. It is also known as glomerular filtration. And the next one is reabsorption. And the third one is called as the tubular secretion. So each step we'll study in detail. So first one is called as the ultrafiltration or glomerular filtration. As we'll see about the glomerular filtration or ultrafiltration. In this you can see that, as I told you, the glomerulus is made up of blood vessels, and these blood vessels creates a pressure. It is creating a pressure in the glomerulus for the filtration, and it passes through the three layers of the membrane. You can see there are three layers, that is endothelium of the glomerular blood vessel, and the next is the epithelium of the Bowman's capsule and the basement membrane. And you can see the basement membrane is present in between the two membrane. In between these two membrane, you can see the basement membrane is present. And as I told you, a pressure is created in the glomerulus for the filtration process to take place. And this, the blood or the filtrate passes first through these three layers. That is the endothelium of the glomerular blood vessel, then through the epithelium of the Bowman's capsule, and in between them you can see the basement membrane. And within this you can see the Bowman's capsule. As I told you, this is the structure of the Bowman's capsule, and here you can see a tuft of blood capillaries, that is the glomerulus. And within this, the epithelium of the Bowman's capsule, you can see minute slits or minute openings are there, and we call them as the podocytes, or it's also known as slit pores or filtration pores, through which the filtrate will be passing. Okay, all the blood plasma except the proteins are not able to pass through this filtration slits or the podocytes. Rest everything will be passing through this podocytes, these openings. And as an average, that is a normal individual will be, that is about 1100 to 1200 ml of the blood is purified or is filtrate is formed by the kidney per minute. So the amount of filtrate formed is 1100 to 1200 ml of filtrate is formed per minute. And as the glomerular filtration rate, that is how much amount of the filtrate is formed in the glomerulus, that is the glomerular filtration rate. We call it as GFR. And the GFR for a normal individual is about 125 ml per minute. So the normal GFR rate of an individual is 125 ml per minute, and when we consider it for a day, it is about 180 liter per day. This is about the glomerular filtration or the ultrafiltration. The second step in the urine formation is called as the reabsorption. This is the second step of the urine formation. As I told you, the glomerular filtration rate, that is the GFR rate of a normal individual, is about 125 ml per minute. That means 180 liters of filtrate is formed in a day. Imagine how much it is, 180 liters. And from that filtrate, 99% of the filtrate are reabsorbed by our renal tubules. That is, it is reabsorbed by our PCT, DCT, Henle's loop, collecting everything, all of them together reabsorb. And only 1.5 liter of urine is excreted out from our body. I hope you can understand. That is, from the 180 liters, only 1.5 liters is excreted out from our body. That is also in the form of urine. Remaining 99%, our kidney tubules or the renal tubules are reabsorbing it. Okay, and the filtrate is made up of different types of components are present in the filtrate, or different types of constituents make up the filtrate. So, the different constituents like glucose, amino acid, Na+, sodium ions are absorbed actively by the kidney tubules. Whereas, the nitrogenous waste, that is in case of we human beings, the nitrogenous waste is urea. So, urea etc. are absorbed passively. This is how the reabsorption is taking place, and now we have to see in which all part, that is, as I told you, PCT, DCT, collecting tubule, and Henle's loop, how much amount or what is absorbed and what is secreted and all, we will see. As I told you about the process called the reabsorption, how in the urine formation reabsorption is taking place. Okay, as I told you, from the 180 liters, only 1.5 liters is excreted out from the body. And where and all it is reabsorbed, we will see. Okay, in the PCT, that is in the proximal convoluted tubule, the nutrients, electrolytes, nearly 70 to 80% of the electrolytes and water are reabsorbed. By whom? Mainly by the simple cuboidal epithelial cells. We can see simple cuboidal epithelial cells, they will be reabsorbing the nutrients, electrolytes, water and all, and also they increases the surface area of absorption. This is in case of proximal convoluted tubule. And the next one is the loop of Henle or Henle's loop. The function is it maintains the high osmolarity of the medullary interstitial fluid, that is the fluid in the interstitium, that is in the medullary region, it will be increasing its osmolarity. Okay, next is descending limb, and this descending limb, as I told you, the Henle's loop is having the ascending limb and the descending limb, and this descending limb is permeable to water. Permeable means what? That is, it will be allowing or it will be absorbing the water and all, and it is impermeable to electrolytes. And here the descending limb, the filtrate is concentrated, that is the filtrate will become more concentrated in the descending limb. And the next is the ascending limb. Is the just opposite is taking place in case of the ascending limb. Ascending limb, it is impermeable to water, as descending limb is permeable to water, ascending limb is impermeable to water, and it is permeable to electrolytes. It is permeable to electrolytes, and it dilutes the filtrate. What is done in the descending limb? It concentrates the filtrates, whereas in case of ascending limb, it dilutes the filtrate. And the next is distal convoluted tubule. In distal convoluted tubule, the reabsorption of Na plus and water takes place. Last, collecting that that is from moving from the cortex to the inner of the medulla. And mainly the urine is ultimately, it's very concentrated, urine is formed in the collecting duct. This is how the steps of reabsorption is taking place. So the third step of the urine formation is called tubular secretion. In that you can see that the cells of the proximal convoluted tubule as well as the distal convoluted tubules, that is, they maintain an ionic balance. That is Na plus K plus balance as well as an acid base balance is maintained here. How it is maintained is by secreting from the filtrate H plus, K plus, ammonia etc. are secreted out from the filtrate, as well as the reabsorption of bicarbonate ions takes place. So what all tubular secretion means what? Secreting out. So what all the components which has been secreted? H plus, K plus, ammonia is secreted out from the filtrate, and bicarbonate ions are reabsorbed. Same way as PCT and DCT are able to do the tubular secretion and maintain ionic balance and pH, the same way the collecting duct is also able to maintain the pH and the ionic balance by secreting the K plus and H plus ions. So this is all about the urine formation or the physiology of the kidney. As I told you, it includes the three important steps, that is ultrafiltration, reabsorption and tubular secretion. So as I mentioned about the physiology of the kidney, that is a urine formation, the detail I'll explain in the picture. It's clear here. The different limbs of the nephron, that is the descending limb as well as ascending limb, everything you can see, and you can see which all components have been absorbed by the tubules and which all components have been secreted out from the tubule. You can see the proximal convoluted tubule, NaCl, water as well as nutrients and K plus ions are reabsorbed by the proximal convoluted tubule. In the same way, you can see distal convoluted tubules also absorbs NaCl, water, bicarbonate ions and secretes out K plus and H plus. Whereas in case of proximal convoluted tubule, they secretes H plus and ammonia ions. And as you can come down to the tubule also, you can see the Henle's loop is also doing the purpose of reabsorption and secretion. We have studied about the urine formation. Next is the mechanism of concentration of the filtrate. How the filtrate is concentrated. And for this mechanism to take place, Henle's loop and vasa recta plays a very important role in concentrating the filtrate. Okay, and an important mechanism is taking place here, that is the counter current mechanism. The important mechanism is called as the counter current mechanism. Okay, in this you can see that is in the Henle's loop, that is the descending limb as well as the ascending limb of the Henle's loop, the filtrate will be moving. Okay, filtrate will be moving in the upward direction, means the blood in the vasa recta will be moving in the opposite direction. So, in order to maintain the osmolarity, we can see the movement is taking place in the opposite direction. Filtrate will be moving in the case of the limbs of the Henle's loop, whereas the blood is moving in the place of vasa recta. So, the movement is taking place in the opposite direction. We call it as counter current mechanism. I'll explain how it is taking place with the help of a picture. As I mentioned you about the counter current mechanism, due to the counter current, the proximity between the Henle's loop and vasa recta, you can see in the picture, that is the outer medulla is given as well as in the inner medulla is given. The proximity in between them, okay, the proximity between the Henle's loop and the vasa recta, the picture it is given, vasa recta is given and Henle's loop is also given in the picture. The proximity between them is that the osmolarity increases from the cortex to the inner medulla. You can see the differences in the osmolarity. In the cortex, you can see it is 300 osmol per liter, whereas when it reaches the outer medulla, it is 600, and when it reaches the inner medulla, it is about 900. So, you can see the osmolarity increases from the cortex to the inner medullary interstitium. And when it reaches the inner medullary interstitium, it will be 1200 osmol per liter. And this gradient is caused by the NaCl and the movement of water. You can see here, it is written NaCl is given as well as the water. How the movement is taking place and what all is absorbed, reabsorbed, etc. is shown in the figure. And NaCl is transported by the ascending limb of Henle's loop. In the picture is clean. It is shown clearly that the NaCl is transported by the ascending limb of the Henle's loop and that is exchanged with the descending limb of the vasa recta. And small amount of urea enter into the thin segment of the ascending limb of the loop of Henle, which is transported back in the interstitium by the collecting tubule. This is how the countercurrent mechanism is maintained in case of our nephron. Thus, the electrolytes and the urea are retained in the interstitium and maintain a concentration gradient in the medullary interstitium. And it enables the easy passage of water from the collecting tubule to concentrate the urine, that is the filtrate. Thus, DCT, distal convoluted tubule, and the collecting duct produce urine 4 times concentrated than the initial filtrated form. That is 4 times the concentrated is the urine. So this is about the counter current mechanism, how the flow of the filtrate in the two limbs of the Henle loop as well as the vasa recta is maintained, and this mechanism is known as the counter current mechanism. This section we have completed about the structure of the nephron, how the urine formation takes place and how the concentration of the urine takes place. Okay, see you in the next class with a new topic. Thank you.